Hey everybody, I'm here with Tilly Clements. She's one of the members of Daily Declarations and the Lighthouse Intercessors. And I just want to welcome you today to give a testimony. This is called Daily Divine Times, and it's once a week. It's part of our Daily Declarations channel, so if you've subscribed to Daily Declarations, you will get the other things that I'm doing. I believe a couple of days ago, I did one for Daily Discipleship for Life. And so this now is on Daily Divine Times, and they're supernatural experiences. And the first one I did was on dreams. And this one is going to be, well, I just can't wait till you get to hear this testimony. It's definitely supernatural. So Tilly, tell me, when you thought about an intervention of the Lord in your life and a testimony, what made you choose this one that you're going to give to us?
Well, there's a lot of interventions that, Yeshua has been in my life, but this one is special because school is starting, and I believe that my son, Nehemiah, has a great calling in his life, and I think that this is a good one.
It certainly is. How old is Nehemiah?
He's 21.
So this testimony happened before he was born, correct?
Yes.
And when is his birthday?
October 14th
Wow.
of 99.
Well, that's wonderful. October 14th happens to be, my granddaughter is October 15th, and she was born during Sukkot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very special time of promise that we have, that God will come and dwell with his people, or tabernacle with them. So I think that too is significant about Nehemiah. And of course, Nehemiah is in the Bible. He was a builder, and he was also one of the king's servants, and I believe it was Cyrus, correct?
Yes. Correct.
And President Trump has been called a Cyrus, even by those in Israel. They have a coin with his image on it that says Cyrus, and it has the dates and everything. It's really amazing. So we see some divine connections with her son, his birth, and with the book of Nehemiah, and with King Cyrus, and with President Trump, and the timing. How it all goes together is pretty amazing. But wait till you hear about how Nehemiah came into this world. So I'm going to ask Tilly now to share with you about that experience.
Okay. Well, it was in October in 1999, and it was during the Canadian Thanksgiving and our Sukkot time area during that time. And I wasn't feeling well. I was having pains, and I thought that maybe the baby was going to be born that night or the next day. So I told my husband I need to go back to our apartment, because we were with our in-laws and family celebrating, because my husband's Canadian. And so we went back to the apartment, and David called the midwife, and the midwife said, has her water broke? And he says, no, not yet. And then he said, call me as soon as that happens. So she came in the morning, because my water broke in the morning. But this is incredible. My water didn't just break once, it broke twice. That's just weird. It doesn't happen to people. It's very rare. And so when my water broke in the morning, the midwife came to the apartment, because we were at Christ for the Nations. She came to the apartment, and she saw if I was dilated or not, and she says no, she's only like at a 2, so it's gonna be probably a while, but it'll be born by midnight. That's what she said. And so the hours were coming, and she sent my husband and I to go walk in the track to see if that would help me to dilate. Well, I came back to the apartment. I was tired. David was tired. So we went into our bedroom. We locked the bedroom, and the midwife was on the couch, resting as well, waiting for the time for Nehemiah to come. At this time, we didn't know what we were going to name Nehemiah. I had a bunch of names for girl names, but in my heart, I knew it was going to be a boy. But I didn't have a name for him except maybe after my father.
So you didn't have a sonogram?
No, I did not have a sonogram.
So you did. You just had a feeling you were going to have a boy. I had a feeling in my heart.
Yes.
And no name yet for a boy, but just names for the girls.
Girls.
Okay.
Yeah, we had like 7 girl names.
Yeah, I just wanted to establish that.
Yeah, no worries.
Go ahead.
Okay, and so David was laying in the bed and he was reading his Bible, and then he just left the Bible there, on the bed. The windows were closed. There was no wind that day because remember, it's October. And I was on the floor on a mattress, like a mat, because that's where I thought that's where I was going to have Nehemiah, on the floor, And so my water broke again, and I told David, I don't know, this shouldn't be breaking a second time. And then this heavenly visitor appeared on the mat, but David couldn't see him, only I could see him. And he said for me to name my baby Nehemiah. And then as soon as he said that, this wind came in, and remember, there's no open window. The wind came in and it moved the Bible to Nehemiah to chapter 8, and then I always know the scripture, a lot of you know it, Nehemiah 8:10. So when it brought me to the attention to go read that verse. So, everybody knows the verse, Nehemiah 8:10, the joy of the Lord is my strength. So
and can I ask you a question? So when the wind came, it actually blew the pages open.
Yes.
It just blew on the Bible, and it fell on Nehemiah chapter 8. And was this after the heavenly visitor had told you to name the baby Nehemiah?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
So it was kind of like a confirmation, because I thought maybe it was hallucinating or something, but that was a confirmation that it was, the Lord working on this.
Did the heavenly visitor say anything else?
Yes, he also said, after the Bible moved and it fell on Nehemiah, and I got David's attention, and I asked David, can you see this man? And he said no. But I did see a wind come, and it's strange that it did fall on the book of Nehemiah on chapter 8, and then you just said that this man told you to name him Nehemiah. So he said that's a confirmation to me, and he felt a peace about it. So then I turned around, and then the man told me, he said, you're going to be okay. Don't fear. Everything is going to be fine. And then he just disappeared.
So that was a reassurance to you, but then that made you wonder
what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long had you already been in labor again?
Well, I started pain and contractions on October the 12th.
And see, it's October the 14th before he's born.
Yeah, so this is on the 13th that the man shows up.
Yes. Okay.
My water broke in the morning the first time, and this was kind of like in the evening after we came from walking.
Okay.
To try to make myself dilate. And so this was Friday the 13th.
Really? We have that coming up this week.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. And it's funny because my mother-in-law was praying and saying, we don't want him to be born on the 13th. And I was like, I don't care what day, he needs to come out.
Yeah. I can imagine, yes. Yeah. So, okay, so what happened after the heavenly visitor left?
Well, after he left, the midwife told me to go into the tub, and she thought that maybe I can have a water birth. I wasn't too sure about that, but, I was only in my 20s, so I just did whatever the midwife said to do. So I got into the tub, and then all of a sudden, some meconium was coming out, in the tub. So then she says, let's get her out of the tub. She needs to start pushing this baby. So my husband picked me up from the tub, took me to the mattress where I was going to have Nehemiah, which I didn't know he was Nehemiah at the time. And so she told me to push, and she said that it would be done by midnight, and I just couldn't. I was tired, and I just fell asleep. It was already midnight, and I fell asleep, and she kept on telling me, you have to push this baby, and I kept crying and saying, I just can't. And all this time I was thinking, why aren't they calling the ambulance? Why aren't they taking me to the hospital? Because I thought that a birth would be a lot much easier than that, maybe 2 or 3, 4 hours the max of pushing, but this was already a long time. So at 8 in the morning, she said, you're going to have to get this baby out. So she was telling me to push. So I kept pushing hard and hard. And all of a sudden, he came out, but he came out with his elbow like this. And he had the umbilical cord wrapped around 4 times on his neck. And he had meconium all over his face. And so he came out again with the elbow, and then the head, and then the rest of his body. And he was 9 pounds and 10 ounces and 22 inches long.
And now did you say his hand was right there? So it was like the umbilical cord was also wrapped around his hand?
Well, yes, because you see, the umbilical cord could have been wrapping around his neck 4 times, but instead, I guess inside the wound he was fighting. That he lifted up his elbow like this, and then the umbilical cord went around the elbow 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Because if he would have not have done that, he would have choked to death. So the Lord knew that was happening.
Wow.
And so anyway, when he came out, I couldn't push out the placenta at all. And so I was tired, and it just wouldn't come out. So the midwife, without gloves, I don't know why she didn't do that, but she went in there and she grabbed my placenta out. And when she grabbed it out, I just started to hemorrhage. I mean, bunch of blood splattering everywhere. It was kind of like a murder scene, And so my husband got scared, and I just felt my spirit like leaving my body. But I wanted to see my mom. I hadn't seen my mom for a couple of years because of being in college, And so I wanted to see her. I don't know why that was what I was thinking, And I was saying, Lord, I want to see my mom. I want to live. But I couldn't speak. I just could say it in my mind, But I could hear David, he's such a man of God, that he started praying and saying, Lord, she needs to live. She needs to be the mom of this baby. I need her as a wife. But at the moment, he told the devil, you leave her alone. She is bought by the blood of Yeshua. Amen. And he fought for my life. I can see my life coming back into my body.
Isn't that amazing? You see the power of the prayer of a husband who is fighting the enemy from taking her life. And you were telling me earlier you had lost so much strength and the blood that had come, that you really were literally on the verge of dying.
Yes. Normally your hemoglobin should be from a 12 to a 14. I was already anemic during the time that I had Nehemiah, so my blood level was ranging 9, 10. But because of the hemorrhaging, my blood level, hemoglobin, went to a 2, so I needed a transfusion. But for some reason, the midwife didn't transfer me to the hospital, but she did call somebody, and she injected me something.
Well, this has just been a tremendous testimony, and I pray that God uses it in your life to cause you to understand the calling that we have as mothers, and the calling that we have with our children to raise them with the Lord. And we just thank God for sparing Tilly and for giving her a healthy baby, and this wonderful man of God. He's serving in the church now is Nehemiah, her son. So praise the Lord. And we just thank God for this daily times of divine times that we are having during the week to encourage our faith.